As I was walking out of the theater, I had this sense in the back of my head that something was not quite right. And so I went out and I bought the short story that this is based on, and I read it the next day. And every suspicion I had was confirmed. So the stuff that kind of works, they lifted from the story, and everything they changed kind of doesn't work. So one example of this is in the story, and just to preface this does not have to be like the story to be a good movie. But if you're going to do an adaptation of something with the same name, the same characters, the same basic plot beats, you're inviting comparison to the original. And also, if your version is worse than the original, then I've got some questions. So for that reason, I kind of went back to the short story and kind of just wanted to see like where the differences were. One of the differences is that in the short story, it's just a cursed object. It does not need to be wound up. Simply by existing in the family, it causes misery and death. And that is why it matters that you can't get rid of it. Because you can throw it down a well, you can bury it, you can burn it. It will keep coming back. It's not really about trauma. It's not really about generational abuse or anything like that. They're not like a model family in the story, but they don't all hate each other. They're not all dysfunctional jerks. They're just normal Stephen King characters. And so, for example, Hal and Petey actually get along quite well in the story. And here they are completely dysfunctional, and Petey is just a little shit.
Oh, you mean not Petey? Petey's his son.
Yeah, he's a little shit. He's nothing but attitude.
True. Well, you would be if you're kind of going up for adoption and you think your dad doesn't want you. Yeah, you kind of have this strange relationship with your father. You might have a little bit of attitude. I can cut some slack on that.
Maybe, but in the original, they more or less get along. But the important thing is that this whole thing about Bill trying to just keep killing people in order to eventually get to hell for revenge does not happen. It's simply like there's just one death after the next in or near the family. And so Hal essentially formulates a plan together with Petey to get rid of it. And they basically dump it in a lake, and that's it. That's basically how that ends. And so all this weirdness of the big showdown between Hal and Bill, where, as I said in the theaters, I said, this does not work. I'm not entirely sure what you're getting at, but you're not getting there. It was tedious and was long and was nonsensical. And that's because it's not in the story. Like, they did not have like a basis for it to work off. And so that is one of the differences. Another difference is that, like I said, you don't need to wind up the monkey. And that is why the whole thing about winding up the monkey doesn't work in the story. Like, the motive for why the monkey needs to be wound up and people why actually do it. You know, we've talked about that, but it never quite made sense in the movie. I didn't think, like, why people did this, why they didn't just put it in a closet and forgot about it. In the story, it's simply just by existing, it causes these deaths, and it also taunts Hal psychically. Like, it really like worms its way into his mind and taunts him and degrades his mental state. So all of the things that I thought didn't quite work and where the metaphor was broken in this, guess what? That's the part they changed. And so that makes me not think very highly of the writers of this, because if in adapting it you broke the story, I don't care what your intentions were, it's not good work.
Yeah, especially in such a fundamental part of, you know, the monkey itself.
Yeah, it's not a small detail.
It's like a major component of the movie, and that's the part that has to work the most.